While Fred Hampton was in prison, a police raid on the Panther office turned into a shootout. 5 policemen and 3 Panthers were wounded.
They did it. After they got the brothers down, they went back up there and the fire started.
Nobody was up there except the police when the fire started.
Right.
Frank, you want to come?
Get a picture of that dude. Yeah, check that door out, man. Magnified shotgun.
They shot up the door at the office there, arrested some Panthers. And just to show you the nature of the raiding officers there, they burned boxes of cereal that we had on the 3rd floor. I mean, they deliberately set fire to that. They didn't set fire to the 2nd floor. They set fire to the 3rd floor with all the, that was kind of indicative of what they were thinking and how they were moving.
The idea on the part of the police was to psych the community out. They called me up the next day. I says, is the office open? Well, no, the police boarded the place up. I say, open it back up. You got the lease to the place. What? I says, open it up. Take all that boarding down, paint that place. And the Black Panther Party members start working for a couple of days. The next thing you know, the community start bringing wood, paint, and everything, and open that Black Panther Party office right back up. And, of course, this was an attempt to terrorize us out of existence. At the same time, if we would close down, it would leave the black community saying, well, they stopped them.
In a report made public in the summer of 1969, FBI Director Hoover declared the Black Panther Party the #1 threat to the internal security of the United States.
I think, frankly, that he overstated the concern, the real concern that the Black Panthers were to the country. I think it was legitimate for him to state that they were a violent and unlawful element. But referring to them as the most dangerous or most important, and I don't remember exactly the words he used, the greatest threat to the United States at that time, I think, was an overstatement.
The police community is sort of a built-in reward and punishment system of its own, and you get a lot of rewards when you go after who the boss says is the bad guy and you get him. And I think what J. Edgar Hoover was able to do was to give police officers the impression that it was okay, it was open season. You didn't have to worry about the law. You didn't have to worry about the difference in the executive branch of government and the judicial branch of government. I think what he in effect said is it's our ball game, guys. We've got the authority, we have the capacity, let's crush him.
Panther leader Fred Hampton was still in prison, but efforts were underway to appeal his conviction.
We were successful, and we got him out of jail towards the end of that summer because a Supreme Court justice in the state of Illinois looked at what kind of a person he was, looked at the kind of case it was, and gave him appeal bond. That's the first time I saw Fred Hampton, and I was in a young white student in a predominantly black church, full to the rafters, welcoming Fred Hampton back.
Okay, you can put your hands down now. We say all power to all people. We say white power to white people. Brown power to brown people. Yellow power to yellow people. Black power to black people.
We go out, we drive along to some schoolyard or something, and there are like 200, 300 people waiting there for Fred to show up. And the phenomenal part was that, I mean, these are all people from the streets, I mean, who are not going to get up and go to work or anything else, and never had no discipline and never would. But there they were. It was 6:30 in the morning, freezing Chicago weather. And Fred would have them out there doing push-ups and jumping jacks and getting themselves energized for the day's work, which included making the breakfast, which included selling papers, which included working in a medical clinic, which included a bunch of stuff. It was a very day-to-day kind of a thing, the Black Panther Party. And you'd have Fred out there rallying them, and he'd say, all right, all right, all right, power to the people. Everybody said, power to the people. He'd say, now, I'm not going to die on no airplane. They'd say, no. I'm not going to die sleeping on no ice. They say, no. He He said, I'm going to die for the people because I'm going to live for the people. They say, right on. He said, I'm going to live for the people because I love the people. They say, right on. He said, I love the people. Why? And they say, because we're high on the people, because we're high on the people. And that was Fred Hampton. When you saw this was 21 years old. It was unbelievable. You could not be moved by Fred Hampton.
In the fall of 1969, Chicago was the scene of a controversial trial. The defendants were leaders of the anti-war demonstrations that had taken place during the Democratic Party convention. National Panther Chairman Bobby Seale insisted on speaking in his own defense. On October 29th, trial judge Julius Hoffman ordered Seale bound and gagged.
This is a symbol to every one of us. Black men in our courts are gagged. Black men in our courts do not feel as though there is any justice. Black men in our courts, whenever case they come, feel that judges do not understand and are without mercy.
2 weeks later, a gun battle on Chicago's South Side further escalated tensions. A former Panther and 2 policemen were killed. The deaths provoked a response from informant William O'Neill's FBI contact.
Mitchell became more specific during that time. He wanted to know the locations of weapons caches. He wanted to know if we had explosives. He needed to know who was staying at what locations, who spent the night where. His information didn't change so much as he requested more detail. And I knew why. The shootout on the South Side had pretty much laid the foundation within the party, within the Black Panthers. We knew that the police would react some type of way.
Expecting police action, the Black Panthers had fortified their office. FBI informant O'Neill was now head of Panther security in Chicago.
We're very confident that nobody's coming in the front door. Nobody. No gas. Nobody getting on the roof, Tim. I want you to know that. Nobody getting on the roof. We believe in, what is it, fire, cover, and fire?
Yes, we do defend our offices and we do defend our homes. This is the constitutional right. Everybody has it. Nothing funny about that. The only reason they get mad at the Black Panther Party when they do it is for the simple reason that we're political. And they don't want to admit this. There are a lot of young organizations around, but we are a political organization. We're an organization that understands that politics is nothing but war without bloodshed, and war is nothing but politics with bloodshed.
On November 19th, FBI agent Roy Mitchell drew a floor plan of Hampton's apartment based on information supplied by informant O'Neill. On December 4th, at 4:45 in the morning, 14 policemen, 9 white and 5 black, raided the apartment. Deborah Johnson, 8 months pregnant, was asleep in the back bedroom next to Fred Hampton.
The first thing I remember after Fred and I had went to sleep was being awakened by somebody shaking Fred while we were laying in bed, saying, "Chairman, Chairman, wake up, the pigs are vamping, the pigs are vamping." This person that was in the room with me kept shouting out, "We have a pregnant sister in here, stop shooting." Eventually the shooting stopped and they said we could come out. I remember crossing over Fred and telling myself over and over, be real careful, don't stumble, they'll try to shoot you. Just be real calm, watch how you walk. Keep your hands up, don't reach for anything, don't even try to close your robe. When I was in the kitchen, I heard a voice, an unfamiliar voice, say, "He's barely alive or he'll barely make it." Then the shooting started back again. Then I heard the same unfamiliar voice say, "He's good and dead now." And I knew in my mind I assumed they were talking about Fred. And I knew when I left out of there, I couldn't look towards the room.
Party leaders Mark Clark and Fred Hampton were killed in the raid. 4 of the 7 surviving occupants of the apartment were wounded. All were charged with assault and attempted murder.
When they locked me up at the police station, I kept begging him for a call, to make one call. I called, I think, the office, the Black Panther office, and I spoke to Bobby Rush, and he told me that Fred was dead. Fred had been killed.